Well, the Welsh squad is far more settled and has been for quite a while than the England squad. When you look at their likely squad, when you look at and you can work out roughly what the 23 will be, again, what do you see?
Well, I mean, because we've got a couple of Welsh guys at WAS, obviously hearing about what Wales are doing, we talked about it on the last show, that they're looking to peak at the World Cup. So they're doing a lot of fitness and a lot of weights, unbelievably so.
Yeah.
It's like a pre-season again. I mean, I was talking to one of the boys, I won't name him in case he gets in trouble, and he was telling me about what they were doing, and it was incredible. I honestly groaned for him, because I was if I had to do that in the next couple of weeks, I think I'd have to retire. It was like double fitness sessions, all that kind of stuff, because they're looking to peak. So I don't know how much.
They did that. I was told that they did something similar in the autumn series as well. It was quite unexpected. Players were turning up, and then they were expecting a sort of a pre-tournament run-in, if not a taper, and they found no, that's not what we're doing. We're doing hard. We're doing the real bump, grind, and heavy stuff.
Yeah, they're looking to do the weights programs, fitness, and everything else, because they want to peak for the World Cup. They figured it out, and look, it's a huge risk, but it could pay off. So I don't really know what's going to happen.
Why? What are the two sides to it then?
Well, the thing is, you're not apparently, what I'm led to believe, they didn't do hardly any rugby sessions in that autumn internationals, especially the build up to South Africa. I think they were doing fitness, weights, and then did one rugby session before an international, which is unheard of. Whereas you can tell that most sides will go in and the rugby takes precedent over anything, because you're trying to put a side together. They're looking to peak. So the problem is, you've got guys going into games will be tired. They won't have had the rugby cohesion that you would normally expect. But the point is that by the time you get to the World Cup, all the work, all the fitness training and strength training will be done. So then you spend all your time in the build-up to the World Cup refining your game plan, refining your rugby, using those warm-up games as the real practice, and then with a view to peaking.
I suppose from their point of view, I mean, Warren Gatland and his coaching team can safely say, look, we've had a reasonably settled squad now for a number of years, and we know virtually what our 23 will be, bar one or two things, injuries, of course, and people playing themselves because of particular and outstanding form. But for us, all the unit skills, all the calls and all that sort of should be fairly familiar to most people. So when we have to pick that up, it will not be quite from the lower level that other teams whose squads are still not necessarily set, are having to start with.
Yeah, and I think also, if you look at the way Warren Gatland coaches they can call it Gatland ball or whatever you want to call it, it was born out of the days at London Wasps, where his first mentality to come in was conditioning. He brought in a team, including Craig White and Paul Strigeon and all these guys that set us apart from other teams who weren't quite putting the focus in. It's interesting enough, a lot of the conditioners that came through are now in the Premiership, around the Premiership, as heads themselves, and they all started through Wasps. And I think with Warren's, same way pattern and that ability to play, it's a fairly simple pattern, but you need to execute it with physicality, with fitness. So I think that it could potentially work. It's very interesting, but I think if you had a very complicated game plan, that's where it would fall flat on its face. But as you said, the calls, the patterns are kind of indoctrinated into the guys, I would have thought.